Hey, welcome to the podcast, Matt. How you doing today?
Man, awesome, man. Feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Believe I look good. So, hey,
Always.
I'm with it.
That's what's up. Matt, let people know, who do you say you are?
Listen, so my name is Matt, but I go by my ed name, which is Beat Life Matt. And it's the same thing that it says, beat life, don't let life beat you. I made it my life's mission to help people to walk out that mantra of beating life in whatever way that it is. Um, I'm a father, you know what I'm saying? So, it touches in that way sometimes, entrepreneur, even people that are still in the business field are still employed by somebody else. A lot of time we try to, exclude being employed, but even in that, being one of the best employees that you could be, being one of the best community people that you can be, being one of the best friends and team builders and legacy builders that you can be. So that's everything that's inside of me, man. And we put that inside of the brand of Beat Life. So
That's what's up. I, I've in checking out Beat Life, I was looking over, and sometimes I'm like, maybe it's like you guys are always like just showing out, just like dressed right. You're getting people lined up, be like, hey, this is how you can put this, even like how you got your brand on you right there with the triple double life. It's like it's good to see, like you're saying, like who you are really brought out into your business, and like finding ways to have fun with how you choose to live life and just like give people something to hope for.
yeah, it takes that too, man. Adults are nothing more than experienced church. That's what I hate to say. We are still so much of what we were and what we wanted to be when we were kids. So if people don't like it exciting, or if it's not exciting, people not gonna like it. They are less into it, they're less interested in it. And so that's one of the things that I do, man, is people have always told me it's been the energy that I bring because I don't like to do nothing boring. So
Yeah,
when I show up, I present that energy as well to not be boring. And yeah, that's a thing that my community, triple double, you see the logos there,
yeah,
my business community, that's a thing that we embody is that we celebrate each other, we show up for each other, and we bring the best energy that we can in doing that rather than just being nonchalant about it or just coming in and letting it be nothing. We like, listen, if we there and if we present, then that means it's gonna be something.
that's what's up. How'd you I guess maybe we should circle back to how we met, but I'm curious, like in the same, I think it may have happened around the same time. Like, how did you come up with your community?
Um, well, from how we met, being in the developmental community, ETs, Breathe You, and then that stretched off into our section of people that started to communicate and encourage each other, and enjoy each other. That helped me with the nucleus for triple double. But being in Breathe You, I didn't come up with triple double until 2022. And it was really just a God move. I'm really big on the faith, really big on keeping my ear to God. So around December 2021, um, I'm pushing, I'm getting a lot of traction with coaching. And I really had started coaching coming over from the motivational side. Because Be Life has always been motivational. Very rarely has it been coaching. But I was working in the wireless industry
Yeah,
where I'm going through all these promotions of management. So I'm essentially coaching every day. I'm managing, but in that management, my coaching is helping me to elevate alongside my performance. So I have a great skill set in this industry, and then I'm turning around, and now I'm becoming this amazing coach inside of the industry too. So when I left the wireless industry in July 2021, um, a couple months later, around about October, I started doing the coaching, and it started with TikTok. So now I'm helping people grow their TikToks just to start in that area. And as it kept going along, of course, I'm phasing into a business. I'm like, listen, ain't no need of having all these followers. We ain't making no money, because followers don't equal money. But
right.
engagement can, you know what I'm saying? Target audience can, traction can. So Started teaching that, and then in December of 2021, God just started telling me triple double, triple double, triple double. Like he said, just put it on everything. And so I just started with the hashtags, just putting it in everything, saying it at the end of my videos. Um, I didn't have the logos created yet or nothing, but what I knew that it meant was to get double in three or more areas of your life. And that's what I wanted for my life. I said I want to grow double in three or more areas, not one, not two, but three. And come January, I had these amazing, startup businesses around me, from boutiques to t-shirts, vendors to brand shops. I'm talking about some of everything, travel agents. And I'm like, okay, I got about, 20 people here that's, every day, coming to me, talking to me. So I'm like, why not go ahead and set up the community? And it hit me, call it triple double. And so I was like, okay, well, we the triple double community. And
Mm.
from day one in 2022, it's had a mentality and a aura of exactly its meaning. And that's to grow, to progress, to do it with energy. And the logos came from there, the gear came from there. And man, we've been popping on it ever since then.
That's awesome. I like the Back to Future poster right behind your head, and I was like
Yeah, yeah. That's the good aesthetics. Put a little swag with it. I'm a feel this wall. So maybe next time you see me, you'll see all different type of stuff. We got some stuff we gonna put up. We got some Nipsey gonna
Mm,
be in here. Some Gucci Man, some motivational quotes. The whole
yeah,
wall gonna be filled up.
man, that's what's up. I love that, maybe you can tell the people where you come from and kind of like where you grew up, because the thing that's like contagious is like the energy, the motivation, and like even the triple double, like um with coming from the community we come from with Eric Thomas and talking about having that, when you talk in basketball terms, triple double, like that's kind of like that pinnacle of a player that's able to do three different things exceptionally well. And you talked about being in the 9 to 5 space, or like working for a bigger company, and then being able to take your success that you have there and transition that into a personal brand, but also working with businesses and people that have their own, and cultivating a culture where they can operate in that realm, but also being a father and being good to your kids, taking them like, hey guys, we're going here, we're going to do this. And then like them willing to go along with you and like go through that process of the journey. I, can you kind of like take me a little bit from the start of like kind of where you grew up and like how you moved up until 2022?
Yeah. So which a big part of um my brand, and it's crazy. So I gotta shout out Nikki Saunders because I've been doing branding so long, but I didn't know how to format it. And one of the biggest parts of the brand that I have is Matt from Mississippi, which is my TikTok page. So, which people be like, you TikTok famous, when it comes down to that because of the followers and the views and things like that. But that's what I am. That's thoroughbred me. A young kid from Mississippi. What I'm saying, grew up in impoverished neighborhoods, but was sheltered. So I understand life in its normality, but at the same time, I understand hood life. I understand country life. Because in Mississippi, that's the most of the two that you're going to have. You know what I'm saying? If you have anything above that, you're really blessed.
Yeah.
So grew up a kid, single parent. Had my two older sisters, had my god brother, and everything kind of started in a developmental sense for me playing ball. Was a really good ball player. Um, but at the end of my career in playing ball, I left it feeling unfulfilled and unfinished. And the thing that always got to me was development. So
Mm.
as I grew, and then formatting into that into college, the same thing. I kept getting into these spaces where I'm good at what I do. I'm growing, but from the lack of development, I'm always feeling like I'm behind, and I'm always feeling like I'm talented, but there's never something to top it off. Then I'm realizing, being from Mississippi, this is the environment. It's a lack of development. Like we got the same skill sets, we got the same ability to grow, sometimes even better, but our lack of development keeps us in a place that we would call Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Mississippi mindset, Mississippi, they got the song now from P Valley, Mississippi Pride. So you grow up in this place where you're like, even if I don't ever leave, I like what I do. I love who I am, but I still lack development to get to my top potential. So um also through ministry, same thing. But I think inside of there, and in 2018 was when I had my big break and big push. And something just hit me. I went through a consecration, and something hit me to say, listen, focus on one thing. Why are you here? And let's see if we can pick one thing that'll take us to where we can sprout everything else. And I tell you what's crazy. I watched a Tyler Perry video when he was doing like some quick motivation, and he was answering a question of, how do you get to that place where you can allow all these things to happen? This 2018 Tyler Perry, we didn't even know Tyler Perry Studios was coming.
Mm.
And he said, you may have a lot of skills or a lot of businesses. He said, but focus on one. Just focus on one and let that one that you're really good at, that the world is going to take to quickest, and do that thing and allow that thing to give you the territory for you to now grow and plant all of your other skills, all of the other things that you may really want to do. And that's what I did. I used sales to do that with a focus on development. So I took the development that we was getting in our community, and that's why I was when we met. I was just a sales rep, and I took that sales rep position, that sales rep. I took that position and turned it into a career, and I went through 4 promotions in 3 years, 2 relocations. Um, I mean, massive payouts. So I just used development. I said, okay, I'm going to put my effort into this like I'm supposed to. I know I got the talent, but what's going to happen when I put proper development with it? And that has sprouted me into everything that I have today. And the good thing about it, when you develop right, you're more proud of where you come from, because you know that you added pieces to the you that where you came from to get to where you are today. So you never forget where you came from. You never really look down on it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not um aggressively in trauma with it. So, but if you go through your process and you include healing through that, you begin to love that you're from Mississippi, that you're from an impoverished place, that you didn't grow up having a lot, because you're like, all of it means more now because I've grown and expanded into this place. And imagine what this place is going to mean as I continue to grow and get to even bigger places and legacies, and have even other people around me to create large legacies as well.
Man, that's dope. And I don't want you to brush past it because you said a lot of things just like, "Oh yeah, I just had a couple of promotions in a few years and big payouts and things like that." But the thing that um you really point to, because when people think Mississippi, they think of like, oh, America's most racist like thing, and like it's all these negative connotations, but kind of knowing like that Mississippi mindset and things that other people may think about you, and like playing ball as a young kid and not having that development, you knowing that that was the missing piece for you. Like, how did you start to gain that development, or how did you like start seeking that out in order to start appreciating yourself and where you come from, and knowing that like, hey, like it's good being from Mississippi, and actually TikTok famous can come out of Mississippi. I don't have to be like from somewhere exotic, so to speak.
Yeah. And one side is the thought process of not giving up on your dream. A lot of people, um, they don't make it because they got too much give up in them. Like, the resources will come, the knowledge will come, the wisdom will come. But before all that, your number one tool of defeat is if you can get the person to give up. It's just like being in a fight. It's just like boxing. If I can get you to give up, it's over. In the middle of a UFC fight, at that point that you lose your will to survive, it's a done deal. I ain't got to do much else because you're going to quit. It's you against time now of when you decide to walk away. So that's a lot of people And sometimes we quit and sell them. I had the mindset to not do that. But what are some of those tangible tools that I got was number one, I started reading books. I got to give so much credit to books. One of my first ones that I had picked back up was Grant Cardone's 10X Rule. I read TD Jakes' Soar, um, just so many. And on top of that, YouTube TV. YouTube TV was a big thing for me. And I know they got the app now, so I should say YouTube University. That's what we used to call it. But you can grow from studying almost anything on YouTube, and you have to sort through the information. But if you're in that place where you're trying to learn development, the one thing about development is it's experimental. And that's what a lot of people don't maintain the patience for is you're not going to know if this thing is really working or not until you're putting that effort in to see, let me see if this works for me. Let me see if that works for me. Let me see if that works for me. And even those lessons, they helped me to grow. By the time I got the wireless, I had a high skill set for development. I was acquainted with failure. My viewpoint of using what people usually do to give up, I'm gonna use that to succeed, and that was failure. So I would do something 100 times faster than anybody else because I wanted to fail at it 99 times just to figure out that one perfect way to be able to do it you know. So where most people would use it to quit, I was using it to become dominant in what I did because most people, and by the time it's time to compete, even in like a sales aspect, you tried it maybe once, twice, maybe 10 times, even 20 times wasn't enough
Yeah.
because I did this 100 times by the time that they said, okay, here's your competition for, here's the payout. So I
Mhm.
was always maxing payouts off of this life rule that I developed, through development. And then of course like Eric Thomason, having the group, having Breathe You, having many of our friends that we know, we still sometimes when I first entered into our core group, I was so I was so just just impressed because so many people was in their development. And I'm like, man, I'm just a dude over here with a 9 to 5, still trying to figure it out. I knew I was a speaker. I knew I had the mentorship and I knew it was great. But one of the things I lack that I've recently learned to not go without is a support system. Even when went through development, I've learned that whenever I am in tune with my support system, and that's where I'm giving my energy back to, that's when I am able to succeed. And it gives me a big understanding of Mississippi to make that full circle. And that's a thing that I do now. I help other business owners from Mississippi. I make sure that I reach out. I give people a different perspective of it because I know that not only does it lack development, it lacks support. And
Right.
I'm like, man, the fact that it lacks support alone is just not the same. It's a thing that sometimes, um we've gotten to understand it, but I feel like if you let understanding sit too long as one thing and it doesn't develop, it turns into pride. And we have this prideful thing about doing it by ourselves. Even today, people love the thought of doing it by themselves. And I've learned that's just a long road. It's like being in the city and taking a highway and skipping the tolls. It was cheaper, but it took you a lot longer. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It took you a lot longer. It was cheap, yeah. It was,
Yeah.
and I've learned not to do things cheap. And my version of not doing things cheap is taking the support that I need, and also taking the development that I need, and that
Mm.
helps people from Mississippi. That helps me, and that helps my community. It's been the growth and the difference maker when it comes down to everything that I do.
That's what's up, man. What's funny about it when you bring up the 9 to 5 and anytime that I hear someone say it's like, "Oh, my little 9 to 5," it's like I just remember that until you left, you didn't treat it as just, "Oh, it's just my this," like, you kept applying that development as to, like, "This is what I have, it might be the only thing that I have, but I'm gonna treat it as the best thing that I have," and just, like, the energy that you put into that and speaking to our friends group, it's like At least for me personally, I always saw that as like, oh, okay, like this guy not only gets it, but he's applying what he's getting. And he's like, when you come back week after week results, like we talk about just being in like doing a social media group and learning how social media works, like learning branding and like for you learning sales and applying yourself in that way. Like, how did you go from being the ball player that had that dog, so to speak, but then you knew, okay, maybe I'm not gonna make it to the league. I'm not gonna go to that next stage. Like, how did you go from playing ball and loving that as a kid growing up to then saying, I'm gonna go into sales?
Yeah, it was a hard transition because one thing about when you play ball, if you come from communities where they tell you you're gonna be successful in one of three things as a young black, you gonna have to sell dope, you gonna have to play ball, or you got to rap. They like, listen, you want to make it easy, do one of them three. You can do the other stuff, but them the three right there. It was hard, letting that go, but you know, I had to continue to do life. Life wasn't gonna wait on me. So, just continuing doing life. I had a lot of years, man, especially in my younger 20s, where I spent figuring it out. I changed a lot of jobs and stuff, and it was just I had to, and I used to hate to say that because now I love the fact of when you get the reward from your choice. Like I chose to do this and it worked out. But I'll be honest, back then, it just the circumstances that I kept getting it. I had to. I had to learn a new skill. I had to develop because I realized if I want these dreams and if I want this future that I got, even just in the thought, and sometimes we go too big,
Yeah.
but my dream sometimes weekly and daily was to eat a number, to order a number on the menu rather than the dollar menu. That was getting me. It was the fact that it's Friday and I finna pay all my bills. And in the smallest thing, I want to go somewhere and do what I want to do. I couldn't. I had no money. So it was like, man, like something got to change. And I got, I was selling rims and tires in my city, and that was when I got my first real taste of commission. The job I had before that, I was selling flooring and floor pans, and that gave me a little bit of the bonuses because we would get bonuses.
Yeah.
But when I got pure commission, I had a month when I was selling rims and tires, but I made $3,000
Mhm.
in commission, and my paycheck was just 1,200. So I was like, wait a minute, like this. So this, I got $4,000 right here, and in my mindset, and I've seen some money, but like legally and on paycheck, I had never got a check like that. You know what I'm saying? With the potential to do it again.
Right.
Next month, like you did this, you can do this again. Like I've never had that,
Yeah.
and knew what I did to do it. It ain't luck. It ain't you just no bonus. It was pure my hard work that I'm going home, with $4,000. And I'm like, the only time I used to get $4,000 on income tax check. Like I'm like, I've hustled and sold stuff, because I used to sell cakes, I used to do photography, but none of it ever amounted to that, and I knew I could do it again. So that first taste of commission kind of just stirred me up. And it was like, okay, I'm getting the money. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm getting money now. And everything around me is motivated by getting money. I'm a trap music lover. So you hear about getting money. You see it in your life. I grew up in, drug impoverished neighborhoods. So of course you seen drug dealers who was flashy and with money. You seen ball players who made it. So
Yeah.
I knew that, it hit me that I could have the lifestyle that I wanted. I just had to do it in sales and business. And I was like, this is really the same game. It's the same competition as playing ball. You know what I'm saying? It's the same hustler mentality as the hustlers that I've grown up around and watched and hung out with my entire life. And I'm like, is it that? But it's legal. And then here I am in this developmental group, and we're talking about business and branding. I was already a doing social media management for our ministry, which I didn't know how good I was at that. So I'm
Mm.
like, man, I got a lot of skill sets that are novice.
Right.
That if I take this mindset once again for development,
Mhm.
and I got support. Let me put it in there and see how it works. So I grew to love sales from the start of that because it started putting more food on the table. It started allowing me to drive different. It started allowing me to wear different things, and I found myself in it.
Yeah.
Once football gave me that, and I didn't know that football. The more successful I got, the one thing that was noticeable, and I never hear people talk about this. You know when the game is affecting you in a positive way when your swag change. And when I played ball,
Yeah.
the better I played, the better I got. My swag changed, and I
Mm.
love being that version of me.
Yeah.
So when I was in sales, I noticed that first really good stint, it was the same thing. I said, I look as good as I feel, and I feel better because I look like Dion say in Jackson State, look good, feel good. Feel good, look good, play good. You know what I'm saying? So I performed, and a lot of people don't think of it like that, but my swagger even helped me perform better because now I have this confidence. And as that consistency came, I said, this is something that I don't think I'm ever going to leave. And now that has even formatted into business where now I'm teaching the epic center of sales when it comes down to your social media. Because a lot of people teach you how to do the social media, but the one gap that I got is teaching people how to be a pro in selling on social media. And man, that's just keep opening doors for
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. I'm probably gonna talk to you offline about
me.
that
We
part.
can get it. We can get it. Yes,
But
sir.
the thing that's dope is like, I guess maybe sad at the same time is that just kind of that repetitive nature of that even the people in the environment already know like what it is. Like or they seem to know what it is, or they seem to present the same um what do you call it, like low probability options. It's like, oh, these are the three things you can do, but it's like those are the three most difficult things you could do. It's like you probably end up dead or in jail if you're going to be dealing drugs. Like that's high risk. Like I think I talked with Pierre Evans about this, and it's like he talked about becoming a car salesman and understanding like that shift where it's like, oh, okay, like this is still a hustle, so to speak.
Yep.
And it's like, but like that same mentality where like, okay, these are my customers. This is the product is the vehicle that I'm bringing them, like how I greet them and doing that thing, but being able to like as an individual choose that thing. I think that that's powerful, and that's great that you're building that support and making that community to let people know that like at the end of the day you do have a choice despite how influential your environment is, and despite how many people it's like, oh, that's the big homie over there, that's this person that's saying like, oh, like you have to do this to get in. And it's like so many people will say like, oh, like why don't we just yeah, somebody should do something, somebody should do something about the inner city, somebody. It's like too many people talk about it but very few people actually show up and provide that support, like actually have something
That's
tangible
so
to
true.
say like, okay, with what you have in your hand, here's how I can help you. And then you continue to have that continuous dialogue over months, over years, over that, because it's like um there's this organization that I joined my last semester of college. It's called Engineers Without Borders. And I just wanted to see it because my main mentality in like transferring colleges and graduating, I was like, I've got 2.5 years. I've got to get this thing done, finish the work opportunity, the co-op, but then get the degree, get a full-time job to be able to provide for myself. But what this organization did is that they emphasize not just going and doing charity, and that was their number one thing. They're like, this is not a charity. Like our
Yeah.
goal is to partner with a third world country or with a impoverished community, but then in partnering with them, we draw up a contract to say, we ask you what your needs are. We don't come in and just bring you stuff that you didn't ask for. And then even in doing that, they learn certain things like you don't go dig a well without getting payment up front, because it's like if you
Mm,
you pay somebody, it's like what's the incentive for them to work? but it's like, of course, people might push back and be like, well, like, there are good people in the world. True, there are good people in the world, and good people understand that, like, I get paid for the work that I do. I get paid for the value that I provide. And just like being able to see that from that perspective and just have that introductory meeting to where it's like, these are the things that work and these are the things that don't work. So when someone's on the outside cheerleading or just making a talking point, so to say, just like somebody should do something, it's like, well, you might be that somebody. So it's like,
Right. It's
dude,
probably you.
right, right. It's like, do all the talking you want to do on social media. Hey, like, live your life. But if you really want to make a difference, follow someone like Matt and just connect, or just actually ask yourself if you're willing to make that sacrifice to say, okay, I'm going to give this much of my time. But it's, if you're honest about it, it's like, is that really going to benefit you? Because if people are honest, it's like everybody's a little bit selfish, but too many people try to convince themselves that they're not selfish. And then you do something that's selfless without actually figuring yourself into it. And then you become resentful to be like, oh, like somebody should have recognized my effort or somebody should have done this. And it's like, you said you never wanted that. So which is it?
Right.
Do you want to just do work for free, or do you want to do good work but still be compensated at least with a compliment, to be like, hey, I appreciate what you did, you didn't have to do that, thank you for coming out, and everything of that sort.
Yep. That's so true, bro. That's so true.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm not going to keep you too long, but I guess I also do want to touch on anything that you want to bring up, and just in case I brush past it, because it's like you get so excited when you hadn't seen your brother in a minute, and it's just like,
Yes.
man, you want to shout them, I want to shout you out and just highlight you and just let people know that, like, people that look like you or people that don't look like you, because even like, although we're both black, like, we're not we're not from the same, like, we're different. Like
Mhm.
that's kind of that diversity. Like, you're in Mississippi, I grew up in Georgia for the most part, but at the same time I'm also immigrated to America. Like, this year be 24 years, 25 years. I'm originally from Cameroon, West Central Africa, have
Yeah.
African parents, and it's like, it's a different culture, and just kind of seeing the culture differently. And for myself, getting around other black people or black Americans, it's like, it's cool to build an understanding, and even seeing that, like, hey, even though we're different, like, I appreciate you. And it's like you get that love back where people are like, man, I'm excited to see you, versus like, you're weird, you're nerd, you're
Yeah.
this, you're that. It's like, okay, well, I was just coming to shake your hand, but if you're just gonna diss me, I guess I'll just keep walking in my own direction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about having, them right people around you, man. And if there's any advice I could give people, it's that don't skip that part. And you may go through changes. You may go through changes, you may go through, internal changes. But no, if it's about what you put out comes from the inside. So a lot of time the work we need to do is on the inside. Is it's about what we pour in. And a lot of time we don't even understand that. It's like weight loss. You can do all the, and that's why they tell you can do all the workouts that you want to do, to burn off, the negative of what's on the inside. But if you are not taking that same amount of time or twice that amount of time to change what you're putting on the inside, you're working against yourself. And once again, you're only going to take that long way around. So um, it's just a thing I want to continue to see people do, and stay in the mindset of building a team, because like some of my team members have been some of the most impactful people that you can find around. Like I got a client named Samantha Deliver. She has a brand, Pure Friendships, and to see and to coach her through elevating where she's going has been as satisfying And I don't know if everybody feels like this, but if you want to go into coaching, this is the feeling you want to feel. It's as satisfying to see her go through her journey and see her dreams being fulfilled as it is to think about my own past, to think about where I came from and where I am now and where I'm
Yeah.
going. The same thing. I got another client named Sabrina Clifford. You know, she has Mind Body Revive. She's a nutritionist. She got her own product, and now she's coaching. She coached people into gut health. And her story and journey, how she already built one business. Listen, sold it, had a really good acquisition from it, and now she's building this newness. And with all that she's been through, somebody on the outside may say, "Oh, girl, you got it. You looking through it." But being her coach, I can see how encouraging her and teaching her all the things that she missed in the business before. It's just such a delight for her because it's not as much struggle, it's not as much pain. She did the one before by herself. She's doing this now. So it's just amazing to see, the growth that people can have. And it's an enjoyment for me. So I tell people to have a team because even now, not being in the wireless industry anymore, I'm able to look back and see all of these people who are now managers or have their own businesses and know that they worked under me and still have them call me and tell me, like, hey, bro, like I'm still using what you got. One of my guys that as I got promoted, he kept getting promoted behind me. I gave him the floor plan, gave him the game plan. He followed that thing to the T. And he commented today, said, "Man, I'm finna buy a house." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm loving it. And he's so far through the process that I'm like, this is done. He like, yeah, this is a brand new build, a house that we actually built, just seeing who he is to his family, to his child, and knowing that, I motivated him. I suspended him one time with pay because I told him to pick his vacation time
Mhm.
and he wouldn't pick it. And when I suspended him, um, it was because his wife was, I think she was like 2 weeks from having her baby. So I told him, hey, listen, you suspended for 2 weeks. Go home. We'll run your store until then, but go home and make sure that you be with her because the work is one thing, but we got to stay focused that the results from the work is what we want. And you don't have to live in this world where people before didn't enjoy both. Some people, they've had an addiction to um, their success, but you got to be careful that that addiction isn't from a place of fear of not having to where you never enjoy the results of what you got too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody retires one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to wait until retirement to enjoy it. Um, and you may even use your retirement wrong. It makes the retirement harder because you don't know what to do in an off season. But I want people, especially business owners, to understand build and build to the point to where one of your first big flexes is that you can have an off season. You know, instead of a week vacation, take you a month vacation. Take two of them throughout the year because you deserve it and it's still all about life. No matter how good the grind is, no matter how successful you get, um, you can be one of them people that all they got is success, or you can be one of them people that you got a great life. And that's one of the biggest formulas to beating life right there.
That's what's up, man. And that's really looking out for somebody, like, kind of putting your hand on his chest, be like, "Hey, man, like, I don't know what you think you got going on, but you need to be home with that family,
Yep.
especially right now."
Mhm.
That's
Can't
that's
get
what's
them
up.
moments back. You
No,
can't get
no.
them moments back.
But, what's I was trying to think. Like, you said some great things there, and it's not coming to me yet, but let let the people know, if you would, where they can find you or how they can get in touch with you and become part of Beat Life and the triple double movement.
Yeah, so on everything, it's on Beat Life Matt. On Instagram, Beat Life Matt. TikTok, Beat Life Matt. Also, you got Matt from Mississippi. We're active on all those. Matt from Mississippi is on TikTok. Also, Beat Life Matt on TikTok. So just come through. My heaviest Social media is on TikTok. Also, if you want to go even through email route, you can go to gobeatlife.com for website. You can just hit up Matt at gobeatlife.com. You also got beatlife mentors at gmail.com. So any type of way you're trying to reach out or trying to get in touch, you want to do that. You want to be a part of the triple double crew. Um, I do coaching that you can find in all of my links on every single one of my platforms. So just come through. You want to spot it out? Hit up the Instagram, hit up the TikTok, and we're always doing lives. I'm live pretty much every morning on TikTok, early though, early 6 a.m. Central. 6 a.m. Central, we rocking it out, and it's that new era. So at any point or any way that you guys want to touch in, just touch in, and that's even if you just need anything. I'm an open book. You know, I'm one of them people that pride myself on. I tell for I ain't too big, and hopefully I won't ever get too big to where I can't hear from somebody or touch base with somebody with what it is that they want to do or what I want to do. You guys be looking out for the 8-week boot camp, which starts August 29th. Um, and then we're gonna have another one that starts after that, where we take 8 weeks with me and heavy on the content. My content coach who works with me, and man, we've been taking businesses to a whole nother level. We started August and we got 4 businesses already that have sold out. We got a lot of businesses that are turning around high conversions with really good traffic in the first just 13 days in the month. We've actually reached $1 million in clientele revenue. And me and her, we've only been working since March, and we've already had some dual clients, but just in revenue, man, you know, from about 13, 14 clients who just been killing it. Some of them have reached 1K already. And these are people that's just like, some of y'all, small business people who just looking to do it. A lot of them aren't full time. A lot of them they do their businesses part time and they're able to bring in money that starts their growth process, to get to that higher level, to get to that corporate ranking level. So it's there, man. We're an option. We're an option. We just want to be a real good one, man. So waiting on you.
That's what's up, man. I love that you also highlighted the 3 figures or the 4 figures that people are doing individually, as well as the 7 figures that you're reaching collectively, because sometimes people forget about those steps. And it's like, if you can make 3 figures extra a month, if you can make 4 figures, if you can bring in $1,000 to your home, for a lot of people, that's your rent, that's your mortgage, that's significant enough. Like, you'll get to the million, you'll see that come through your bank account or something like that based on your spending habits or what you save or things of that sort. But I love that you highlighted those steps, because if you're just focused on, I want to make 6 figures, it's like, okay, let's make 2 figures. Let's just make a
Right.
dollar. Let me make
Mm-hmm.
$5. Okay, we made 10. Now make 100, 200. Let me make 1,000. It's like, just those baby steps are more than sufficient, more than significant. You don't have to settle at them, but just be willing to start and work with someone like yourself. I'm almost seeing you as like the Mississippi Gary V.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I take that. I take that. And maybe I can buy into the Jets like he will one day. You know, he want to own the whole thing though. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
what's the vision for triple double looking like in 2023?
Man, just to be definitely bigger. Um, One of the biggest plans is to have the Beat Life Escape, which is where I now reside in Dallas. I've been here for a little over a year now. So God told me, he told me years ago, he said, I want you to go build a place for people to come. And there's these architecture houses out here that we're going to host just an escape it. You know what I'm saying? Where people can come, hotel, and just come there every day. And we talk about different things. We allow them to make content together. So that's going to be really big. It's something that my community is really looking forward to, even as is next year. Um, we definitely a big goal is I want people to come and be a part of, the $3 million. $3 million minimum and clientele revenue. And people got to understand if there's 3 million, you're somewhere in that. The fact that you don't have to make the 3 million, but
Yeah.
just like you said, if you've never made 30K, 60K, 100K, you can come be a part of that. You can come be a person that's doing 500. And that's the benefit of going through the levels of business that I went through, being a DM, being a director. I'm able now to, show people how I managed 1.8 and turned it into 2.1. So now my goal is to do 3 million, but just in entrepreneurs, no stores, no working for nobody else, no wireless industry. It's like, okay, we've made it this far. Now I want to build this community of people who do that, and we go celebrate, y'all. We listen, we turn up with the best of them. I ain't one of them people. I may be the person they be talking about when they say, don't nobody like a showboat. But that's why they don't like me. Because, baby, we go showboat. We dancing in the end zone and everything else. So that's 2023, man. Big vision, big goals. We doing Dallas somewhere near in October. So come be along. We'll make it.
Got you. Well, it's good to hear the kids with you and just you doing the daddy duties. But last question I have for you is from the first question I asked you, are you still who you said you were?
Yeah, and that's what I love, man. That's what I love is that I never lost me in the process, you know, and I did that before. So people who maybe like, how easy is that? It ain't because I've lost myself before. But the crazy thing about it, last time I lost myself in lack of success, lack of discipline, lack of consistency, lack of development, lack of support. But me making sure that I stay centered um, has helped me to continue to build right around me and has continued to allow me to do it as me. So love that. Still me. Still Matt Naylor. Listen, and still Beat Life. That's why I never changed the name. People
Yeah.
like, would you erase Beat Life? And nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It's staying there because I found Beat Life when life was beating me. So
Yeah.
now that I'm beating life, I said, yeah, baby, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't
Yeah.
going nowhere.
I love it. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, Matt. It was a pleasure catching up with you again and looking forward to what this year has for you, but also connecting offline.
Same, brother. Same, man.